Red Robin Farm. It's nice to see all you YouTube friends. And I'm back this morning to talk about making shampoo bars. A shampoo bar is a wonderful product for your hair. And I'd like to first just kind of define it for you in case you haven't seen this interesting product. This is the shampoo bar that I make. It's a solid. It's a soap. This is a soap bar that is specifically designed for hair. And it's designed for hair specifically because of the oils that are chosen to be in the product, in the soap. I package mine very simply in a little paper pouch that I designed after great anxiety of mind because I'm not good at designing things. But it's easy. It uses the same paper that I wrap my soap in. And it has a little bitty half label that's handwritten. And that's part of why I'm doing this video, is that everybody out there can know what's in my shampoo bar and why it's so good. So it's a soap. It's a solid. Why should we use shampoo bars instead of shampoo? Shampoo's easy to get and fairly cheap. And I would say, first of all, that soap is really, shampoo bar is really long lasting. I asked my husband this morning, who I make this for, I said, how long does this last? How long does one 3 to 4 ounce shampoo bar last him? And he said about 4 months, 4 to 5 months on average. That's a long time. And he washes his hair every day, at least once a day. So it's a very long-lasting product. And it's also makes for wonderfully soft hair. Now I've still got brown hair. I don't have any gray yet, which is weird. I got that from my mother. So my hair is still ordinary. I don't have to wash it as often. It's drying out a little bit as I age, but my husband's hair is gray. It's silver. He started graying very young. He had beautiful hair when he was a young man. Oh my goodness. He had dark Greek hair. It was very dark, very thick, and very curly, like this. And so he could pull it down. It was really long, and then he would let it go. It would spring back up. So it was, he could give himself a haircut. He would get, if he didn't have scissors, he'd just use a razor blade. Okay, and he would just pull it out and hack while he was in the shower or outside and throw it in the grass. And it didn't matter the length because it would just spring back up. Anyway, no more of that for him. But his hair started turning gray, and the gray hairs were not curly, and they were not soft, and they were very ill-behaved hairs. And so the dark hair was still curly and the gray hair was sticking up, and it was a mess. And he solved that by using lots of gel on his hair. Okay, so he would plaster it down, and it was kind of like making somebody behave by putting them in jail. I mean, really, that's kind of what gel is. So he did that for a while, and finally we lighted on the idea of trying a shampoo bar. I don't know whose idea it was, but so I found this recipe on Wellness Mama. I was trying to remember her name, Wellness Mama. She's a really famous blogger and has a website and all that. And this was her recipe. And she has really good recipes, and a lot of them. So if you're wondering about the safety or the efficacy of this recipe, she's pretty good. Okay, so why else do we use a shampoo bar? Well, part of it is, let me cover up. Okay, this is shampoo bottle. If you look at the ingredient list, put on your glasses while you're in the shower and read the ingredient list. The 3 things you really want to avoid that are in here that are not good for you or your hair are the sulfates, the parabens, and the glycols. And when I look at this bottle of shampoo that came out of my shower, the second ingredient is parasulfate. A little bit further down the line is dimethicanol, which is also not good, glycol distearate, and sodium lauryl sulfate, along with many other names that I have no idea how to pronounce. And again, if you see a product that you're putting on your body that has so many names that you can't pronounce, just be a little wary. Some of those products in your shampoo are known hormone disruptors. That's not good for you. a lot of them dry out your hair or damage your hair. They make your hair feel great. I mean, they strip all the oils out, which nobody wants greasy hair, but they also are just, they make for weak hair, broken hair. So anyway, that's a question I get about the shampoo bar. Well, does it work? Does it take the grease out of your hair? Does it clean your hair? And yes, it does. This, if I use this, scrub my hair, then I get that squeaky clean, that kind of noise that you get, that you can feel when your hair is really clean. So it works really well. So let's look at the ingredients for this shampoo bar. Olive oil, very standard for a soap, standard oil ingredient. These are the 4 oils on the oil side of the equation. Coconut oil. Now these two together, these are equally represented in this recipe. There's not really a dominant oil in this recipe. They're all pretty evenly represented. I think there's 10 ounces of this. I'll put the recipe for this in the description, okay? This is 10, this is 10, and I should mention that the coconut oil, this is the ingredient that makes your soap lather. Okay, so if you want a soap that lathers up and gets bubbly, and as we all know with COVID-19 and getting rid of viruses and stuff, that having a soap that lathers is really important, because that soap is what breaks apart the virus molecule and kills it off. That was so not scientific, but I know there's truth in there. Remember, I'm an artist, not a scientist. And the third oil, now you're not going to like this, some of you, in this recipe, is lard, okay? And I know some folks are going to go, oh, pig fat, okay? But you should know that lard is one of those animal fats that's really, really good for your hair and your skin. It's just, it's very, very good for moisturizing your skin. So if you don't like animal products in your product, then this recipe might not be for you, but you might be able to find a recipe online that doesn't have any animal fats. My recipe does. I'm very pleased with this soap bar, this shampoo bar, and I kind of don't want to change my recipe because it works so well. I just put this here kind of representatively. I usually get premium lard. This is just regular grocery store lard, but I go to stores where I can get a premium lard, which I prefer. And the last oil, interestingly, is castor oil, which you can get at Walmart. It's in the vitamin and supplement aisle, because you can take this to help make your innards happier. Okay, so castor oil. So those are my 4 oils. I think it's 10 ounces, 10 ounces, 10 ounces, and 6 ounces, which is just about what this bottle is. Those are your 4 oils. You measure those, melt them down, but they don't take much melting. None of them are too hard. And then you have your lye and your distilled water mixture. You can buy distilled water at the store. That's just another expense that gets passed on to your customer, sadly. Or I get my distilled water from running my dehumidifier, and I collect it there, and that works just as well. Then after you make your soap, which I'm going to do that with you in a minute, then you pour it into molds. And I save these. Okay, I am such a cheapskate, but it really works. This is like the perfect soap mold. Okay, if you want a round bar of soap, and I only make my shampoo bars round. All my other soaps are square, so it's just easy to tell them apart. Not that you could confuse them, but you pour the liquid soap into here. It's already lined with wax paper, okay, which is great. And then when the soap cools and hardens, then you just peel this off and you throw it away. And you've gotten 2 uses out of this, which I think is wonderful for the environment. So it's just a win-win situation, and it's a great little mold, okay? Oh, sorry about that. So that's what I use for a mold. Then I'd like to just take a second to talk about how to take care of your soap. It's always good to put a bar of soap, any bar of soap, but especially homemade soaps, on a little soap rest. And this is what these look like. This one is old, and I tried to remember where I bought this. And I don't know if I did buy it. I imagine I stole it from my mother. She might have stolen it from her mother. These things are kind of indestructible. I used to have a few, and I think I gave some to my daughters and daughters-in-law. This is a generational soap rust situation. Anyway, this really keeps your soap up out. If you have it in a little soap dish, this keeps it up out of the water. You know, if you leave your soap sitting in a little bit of water, it's going to get, I'm sitting here picking at this. I'm a great picker. It's going to get slimy on the bottom, and you flip your soap over and you try to get it to dry out. This really alleviates that problem. It makes your soap last longer. Every time your soap gets that slimy scum on the bottom that you don't want to use, you're just throwing soap down the drain. Okay, you're wasting your money. So one thing that will make your soap and your shampoo bars last longer is to keep them out of the water, and you're saving money. I also have bought these at Walmart. They come in a little pack of 2. And they're pretty good. I cut these in half so that they're closer to a size of a bar of soap. So this is about right for like a shampoo bar or a small bar of soap. Adam keeps a half of one of these underneath his shampoo bar all the time. They become like melded together, but it gives something dry for it to sit on. This is plastic. Okay, so here's the fake version. Here's the real version. Don't you love that? See, I love to come up with a natural alternative. And these are great. These are cross sections of a loofah plant. Okay, and here's a little one. This is, you can kind of see how it's a cross section. If you can imagine about, 15 of these end to end. The loofah is a squash that grows on a vine, and it's a long squash, as long as like 1.5 feet or more long. And it's a lot of trouble, as so many things are in this business. It's messy and time-consuming, but gives a great product. Loofah is a squash, and after you get rid of everything else, all you have left is the fiber. Now, it's a squash that doesn't taste like anything. You don't want to eat it, fry it up. You could, you would regret it, although you get lots of fiber. And this is the fiber that's left. Can you imagine digesting that stuff? That's tough. Oh, it's tough. Full of little air pockets, doesn't absorb anything. So it's not going to absorb water or pass water onto your soap. Anyway, these are just a great size. I'm going to start, I think, giving these away with every shampoo bar. Because look at that. Isn't that nice? It's just a perfect fit. I planted loofah. I ordered about, 12 loofah seeds from a seed store, and they arrived a few years ago, 4 years ago, and I started them in the greenhouse, and then I transferred them along the garden fence, which is in full sun. Okay, and it was late summer, and they were barely growing, and then early fall, they were really starting to spread along the fence, and they just went everywhere, and they were gorgeous. And then they had these big yellow blooms that were beautiful, and I was like, well, that's really pretty, but I really want loofah. Are they going to do anything? And so then the female blossoms started to have these little swollen parts there at the base of the blossom, and then they got longer and longer, and of course that's the fruit. And by late fall, very late fall, I probably that first year got 25 loofahs, many of them quite large. And then the next year I saved the seeds out of those, and I planted them again and got more. If you get new seeds, they do better. Old seeds do not germinate as well, and they also, for whatever reason, just don't grow as well. But it was adequate. And then I had so many loofah, I haven't grown any in 2 years because I still have so many. They are hard to process. You have to pick the squash. You have to dry it until the skin, which is a dark green, turns brown, and that takes weeks and weeks and weeks. You have to dry them totally. Then you have to take a knife and sit outside and don't care about getting messy and cut the skin off or peel it off. That's really hard on the hands. And then you have to get the seeds out, and so you have to shake them, and then sometimes you have to dig in there because nobody wants to buy. I don't think any of these in this bag have seeds. These are my very best ones. There might be a stray seed in there somewhere, but nobody wants a loofah pad that has a bunch of seeds in it. You can save the seeds. You can give away the seeds. I had thousands of loofah seeds. And then you have to wash them, and you have to bleach them. And so this is bleach lift, and then you have to rinse them, of course, very well. And so that's what this is. It's amazing this thing still exists. You process them within an inch of their lives. And so, but I think they're worth it. They're so cool, and they're wonderful to go underneath soap. And if you make soap and sell soap and shampoo bars, then this is a good thing to have. And I really may grow some more again next year. I think I'm in the mood. Okay, is there anything else I wanted to tell you about shampoo bars? I highly recommend them, especially if you are a little older, if you have gray hair, if your gray hair is dry or unmanageable. Especially if your gray hair is short, which most people with gray hair, it is short and kind of sticks up and you wish it were softer. So especially for a lot of women, this is a really, really good alternative for you. It's going to make your hair feel nice. Okay, let me stop yammering on, and we will move to the kitchen and make sure we have all enough ingredients, and we will make some shampoo bars. I'll see you in a minute. Hi, am I the creature from the Black Lagoon or some alien? No, this is Mary Catherine in the kitchen making soap. And safety is the most important thing when you're making soap, because you are handling lye and you have to be careful. So I'm wearing gloves. This is a perfect outfit for COVID. Look at my ear sticking out. Ooh, it is sticking out. I've got a mask on and I've got goggles on to protect myself, in case my lye should splash. I've never had that happen, but there's always that possibility. So really quick, let's look at what I've measured so far. I'm going to turn the camera down. Here's my digital scale. I've got 12 ounces of distilled water. I've got 5 ounces of granulated lye. You can buy this online. So I've heard you can also buy it at the hardware store. So I've weighed those down to the ounce. Now when you mix these two, you have to be careful. You always pour the lye into the water and never the other way around. And you go put this into the soapy water. You want to take care of anything that the lye touches. Then you stir this really well until very gently with a stainless steel implement, spoon or knife. I find this knife well for scraping the lye off of the bottom of the Pyrex. Make sure you use, I really think it's important to use glass. You don't want to do this, never use aluminum pots or pans for making soap at all, because it will interact with the chemicals. So this is all nice and smooth. I'm going to set this aside. If you have small children or pets, you need to be very, very careful having a lye mixture sitting around your kitchen. If it's cold weather, I put it on the back porch because it's cold out there. You want this to cool. It also is releasing fumes, and so I'm going to turn on my fan. All right, now we're done with the lye for a bit. I'm going to go wash my gloves and then take them off. All right, so now we're going to measure the oils, and I'm going to go through this kind of quickly and just measure them on my digital scale. And the recipe is in the description, or I'll put a little box here on the video as well. Okay? friends, we're back. I went away and did some emailing and did some other things for a while to let my oils and my lye mixture cool. It takes a while. I'd say 45 minutes or so. So instead of waiting around and getting impatient and jumping the gun and doing it while they're still too hot, just wait and go find something else to do. Go watch a TV show or something. You want your oils and your lye both to cool down to about 110 or below, 100, 110. So these are nice and cool now. They're just fine. So I'm going to turn this around and we will whip through this process. I have my oils, have my lye. I've got 2 essential oils, peppermint and rosemary. I'll be putting those 2 in there. One is bright and one is woodsy, so that combination is really nice. I took the temperature of my oils and lye using this candy thermometer, and I have a stick blender. I have never hurt myself with lye making soap, but I'm telling you, this is what you need to watch out for. This is the most expensive thing I bought for making soap, and I've used it for years. But that little blade there, it will slice your finger off. So be very, very careful, okay? I say that from personal experience. All right. So now we're going to mix the lye into the soap, use the stick blender to mix it well until it comes to trace, which means that when I drop the soap back into the tub, if I can start to see little circles sit on the surface, it looks like pudding, and if the circles sit there and don't sink back down into it and get smooth, that means it's at trace. At that point I need to stop mixing and don't mix any more or I'll overmix it. Okay, so you'll get to watch me do that. Let me bring this closer so you can see what it looks like. It's a beautiful creamy looking, it really just looks lovely. Just like cooking without the calories. I'm tilting the pot because this is a big pot and a fairly small batch of soap. And if I don't do that, then this blender will splatter the soap because it's so shallow, and it'll splatter on me. And I really don't want to have that happen. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull my sleeves down on my sweater. Hello, and we're back. There you have it. That's the making of the shampoo bar. My camera ran out of storage, so it stopped in the middle of when I was trying to pour it and making a mess. As you saw, I did blend it a little bit too long. I decided to do one more little brrr of the blender and overmixed it, and so it went to trace, and it got thick a little bit faster, and it wouldn't pour into those molds, so I had to spoon it in. Anyway, but they're all tucked nicely into their round molds now, and I've covered them in saran and covered them in a towel, and I've put them on the floor in our guest bedroom, and they'll sit there for about 24 hours. And when I go and check on them tomorrow, they'll be solid, and I'll be able to peel the mold off and cut them. And then they need to cure. Soap needs to cure for about 4 weeks before it is ready to use. If you use it before then, it's perfectly safe. It's just that you'll use it up really fast because it hasn't dehydrated. It hasn't cured long enough. And so if you buy a fresh bar of soap and it hasn't cured long enough, it'll be lovely, but it won't last very long. If you get an old bar of soap that's been sitting around for a year, it might not smell quite as strong, but it will last a long time. So that's the difference. Hi friends, good to see you again. We're going to finish up our shampoo bars today, okay? So we're going to take them out of the molds, and I'm going to show you how I wrap my shampoo bar, how I pack it. Several new subscribers to my channel, and I really want to say thank you to my new subscribers. I think I've had 3 in the last couple of days. So thanks for coming on and for subscribing. If you want to get notifications that there's a new video, then just click on the little bell that's down underneath there, okay? And make sure to like the videos, but only if you really like them. If you don't like them, you don't have to click like. Okay, so I'm going to turn this camera down, and you can watch what kind of soap shampoo bars we got. So I have them inside of their junky little towel. They've been sitting there for 24 hours, so they're well cured at this point and perfectly cool. What you want to do with soap is you want it, when you do that chemical reaction of putting the lyes and the oils together, it actually heats up again. The soap will heat up really hot, and that's important. That's part of the reaction that it's doing. And then you want it to slow coolly because it goes into what's called a gel stage, and it's important to go into the gel stage. This will give you a firm, high-quality bar of soap. So these went into their gel stage, and then they cool down slowly overnight, and here they are. And there's 4 of them. 4 of them. And I have 3 full ones and 1 that's partially full. And so quite a number of these, probably all the ones that come off the top. You can see that the top ones, they look a little junkier. I'll save those ones for Adam to use, and the rest of them I'll sell. Okay, so this is so fun to do. Take a pair of scissors, you follow the line of the little orange juice container. I must say, these are hard to find. Only Minute Maid, as far as I know, still makes these wax paper lined paper orange juice containers. Seems like Welch's and everybody else has gone to the plastic kind, and I don't think I can use those. So here's hoping that they don't change any. Now when I take this off, this is really new soap, this shampoo bar is, and it's still tacky around here. It's still, you know, it's not liquid. It's definitely a solid, but it's still a little tacky. And so you want to be gentle with it. It's when you put your hands on it. You don't want to squeeze it hard. You want to be careful with it. Now, I know some of you guys are watching this whole process going, oh my word, I will never make soap. That is so much work. But it is something you have to enjoy. Now, the bottom of this can be hard to get off, and I'm not going to wrestle with it right now, but suffice it to say that if I get a butter knife or something, I can prise that off of there. Or sometimes when I'm cutting these bars of soap, I'll just cut that bottom off. I'm not going to cut them now because they're still too soft to cut. But if I take the wrapper off, they will cure faster because you want the air to get to them. When you cure them when I cure any soap, I go ahead and cut it when I can, when it's firm enough, and then I put it on kitchen drying racks like you would put a cake on, a cooling rack, and I leave them on there for about 4 weeks. So I'll put these to the side, but that's what it looks like. And this will make about 3. I'll probably cut a small one off the top and 2 bigger ones to sell. And then each one of these will, these are real full, these will cut into 4 each. If I didn't enjoy it, it wouldn't be worth my time. When you do this kind of work, you do not pay yourself by the hour. Don't do that math. You'll be discouraged. Okay, now I want to show you how I do the little pocket that I put this shampoo bar into. So I'm going to turn this down again so you can see my craft paper. Okay. Oh, that's heavy. Got to adjust. Ugh, now I really have to adjust. Okay. So these little pieces of paper, this comes out of, you've seen these packets of 12 by 12 craft paper. People use them for scrapbooking and stuff. When I see these on sale at Walmart for like $4 for there's 30 sheets on here, I buy them then because that's about the cheapest soap packaging and that I can get, honestly. And I do have to make it myself. So I cut these pieces. This was the original 12 by 12. I cut out a 9 by 8 piece. Okay, and I've got several. This is really nice colors. Don't you love that? But they come in all kinds of designs. I really do like these for. And there's more in that book. But you want it a little wider than you do tall. Okay, let me see if I can remember how to do this. You turn it over. I've got the bottom toward me. You want the bottom to be tall enough to hold that soap. I think that's probably tall enough. Now, remember, this is packaging that people are going to take that soap out of there and throw it right away. So this is not high art that anybody's going to save. So it doesn't have to be some kind of a really, really perfect thing. And then I take it and I fold. I'm sorry. Okay, so let me get up here closer. This is the bottom. The top is a shorter piece, just so that you can't see any of the white. So your soap is going to go down here in this little pouch. Okay. The soap is going to go in there. So now all I have to do is wrap it around the back like this, like almost like I'm making a little cylinder. And then I put my stapler, I let it go off the edge, and I try to make this just as small as possible, just the width of the staple, because I want as much room in that pocket as possible. And I staple at the top and the bottom. This one came out a little bit wonky. I must not have either cut it right but it'll be fine because that's in the back. The staples are in the back. Okay, so you get something that looks like this. Okay, see how that's a little bit not quite even up there. Don't like that. And then, but it does give you a nice big pocket, and this is just big enough for one of those bars. Sometimes I have to really fiddle with it, and you don't want to mess up your soap bar by putting it in there and clipping off the edge. So there's a little pocket, then I put the sticker on the front. That's it for our shampoo bars. Thanks so much for joining me in this little adventure, and I hope that if you feel up to making soap and getting the ingredients, that you enjoy this. And the next thing we're going to be looking at, I've decided, is my gourds. I am going to get those gourds out. They're all on the front porch drying away. All right, thanks so much for coming. See you soon. Bye.